What is your I was into X before it was cool thing? Mail. 2004-ish, when it was invite only. My friend had a small amount of invites. I worked for a movie theater chain in 1996, and my boss got a VHS copy of Jesus vs Santa Claus at some industry event. We watched that video a dozen times and laughed our asses off. About 6 months later South Park debuted on Comedy Central and we were very excited to see it had been picked up. Spotify. I remember I had to use a VPN to use it in my country. I had a friend in high school ask me in math class one day if I wanted to go to a concert with her that night. Her sister had extra tickets and she thought I'd want to go. It was a New Kids on the Block comeback tour and I said sure, why not. My mom didn't mind me going. We sat around chatting before the show and the opening act was some woman who appeared to be drunk, but her music was really good. Nobody had ever heard of her, and she only did a few songs, but her music was a total earworm that was hard to get rid of once it took hold. Went home that night and googled her single Just Dance and downloaded it immediately, and that's how I discovered Lady Gaga. Snowboarding. You couldn't even bring them to resorts. 1983. This is before it was too hot. I remember going around to stores trying to find all 6 issues of Infinity Gauntlet. I had read one while waiting on my mom to finish grocery shopping and I was hooked. That made me a dork in the early 90s. But now it's $1 billion worldwide phenomenon. Ducking A. Listening to Nirvana's Blue Song on student radio, NZ, in 1989, and thinking these guys are good. Sent an electronic mail message from my car using a HP 48G calculator and a ham radio in 1993. That feat got published in a technical magazine. Nothing about that first sentence sounds cool, but I know the G is for gangster. Edit. Thanks for all the love, upvotes, and awards. To answer the common questions, I wrote a terminal emulator for the 48 grams that talked to a terminal node controller, which is like a modem to interface between the calculator and radio. The message, don't remember the exact details, but I was 16 so it probably went to my mom's Prodigy account to say hi mom, went through the ham radio packet network until it hit a node with an internet bridge. The car was my Pose 88 Mustang that I bought for $1,800. Lastly, the source for G is for gangster as it relates to HP 48G comes from the incredible Nerd Rap Entertainment System album by Ed Crooker. I came across the Lonely Islands website when I was about 11 or 12, 02/03, before Andy Samberg or the other two, Akiva and Jorma, were big. They had a video where they spliced all these old Northeast's games together into a skit, and it was friggin' hilarious. Skateboards. 1964 or so. Bitcoin. Altcoins didn't exist when I got started with it. Mandatory disclaimer, no, I'm not a millionaire now. Home computing. I started in 1976. Before RGB there was only green. I first saw The Simpsons when it was a sketch on the Tracey Ullman Show and thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. I was ecstatic when I learned they were making a full cartoon of it. I watched it religiously up until about season 15 or 16 before I finally switched to every once in a while like we all eventually did. I was into memes when they were called demotivational posters. We weren't allowed to have cola much growing up, but we drank a ton of seltzer water. I kept drinking it as an adult and people made fun of me for how weird it was, because it's not a thing people casually drank. They thought it was either a mixer, like they acted as if I was drinking straight margarita mix, or something from a Frau health store. Then Ducking LaCroix came along, or whatever it was that made seltzer suddenly cool a few years ago. I mean, I'm glad it's even more common with more flavors and stuff, but I used to get teased so much for it. I remember when you could read every comic featuring Deadpool in under 2 hours. This was around the time I said an Iron Man movie, and they got some wash up to play him. This'll go over worse than Daredevil. Apostrophe. the How to Train Your Dragon books. Unfortunately they are still not cool yet. Hulu in 2008. It used to be completely free, browser based, with no ads. It was the only way for me to watch new episodes of Heroes every week. Netflix in 05206. Getting not 1, not 2 but 3 DVDs sent to the house for just $9.99 a month. Lol. Swine flu. I got it in February 2008 and was the 3rd reported case worldwide. You and the person who got corona should become friends. Hating Bill Cosby. Had to do volunteer work at the local Jell-O museum for 30 hours to graduate high school in 2008. He used to be the spokesperson for Jell-O. I had to listen to him talk about Jell-O in old commercials for 30 hours on a loop. Edit. I should also mention it's the town where a bunch of kids acquired a mass conversion disorder and all thought they had Tourette's. I actually have mild Tourette's. So that's another thing I did before it was cool. I got Instagram when it was a photography app back in 2011. Same. I remember asking my friend how she got her photos to look so cool. That's when I discovered filters. Those were simpler times, when it was more fun, personal and not filled with advertisements. I read Fight Club because it was featured prominently in Borders. At the time, no one had heard of it or its amazing author. Had Tesla stock at $28. Sparkslive. I was in the beta. It came on a CD that you had to install on your Xbox. Halo Seon's Connect was where the real action was, though. Don't want to brag, but I bought some N95 masks the second week of January. Someone had a big brain moment. I used to record myself playing video games when I was like 5 or 6, when my parents gave me the VCR they replaced in the living room. Because of this early hobby, me and a friend did video game playthroughs on YouTube in 2007. We were certainly not the first, but we were damn early. We also used a cap card straight out of the gate, rather than doing the old recording the screen crap that looked terrible. Elmo when he was just a minor Sesame Street character. We used to watch Sesame Street at my shared house full of college kids. Was a way to unwind. Sounds silly but it was a thing. I liked Elmo. He was pretty chill. I was in marching band with Markiplier. He was my trumpet section leader. It's weird seeing all these memes and all these famous people talking about a guy I was in high school with. I started watching Smosh videos when they had just a couple of them uploaded. They were probably the first YouTubers I watched religiously. Their first food battle videos were hilarious. There was nothing like good old Smosh. I probably had one of the first top 10 channels back in 2011 where I would post top 10 video stuff about games. I gave up cause it was too much editing and work. But few years later those top 10 channels became very popular. Now those top 10 channels are memes. I actually enjoyed watching them, but now there's like thousands of top 10s that are either just clickbait or stale content. I was out for the night back when I was 17/18/19. A friend and I went to a good pub in Oxfordshire where we thought we'd have a chance to pick up some girls. Ended up getting drunk, taking an E, and listening to the band who were pretty good. After their set we popped out of the pub for a quick joint. The band walked over and asked for a toke. Ended up spending the rest of the evening in the back of their van smoking weed and drinking. Turned out that the band was an unknown indie/rock group called Radiohead. A couple of weeks later Creep went international. Been a fan ever since. Edited to correct some piss poor spelling. Edited again. Wow. Never thought this would blow up anywhere near this much. Thank you to the generous people who have given me awards, especially the gold one. I had COVID-19 before the world went insane over it. I was a beta tester for Gmail. I still have the welcome email from 2004. Since my dad is a huge weeb, we bought a pack of 500 black medical masks because we saw people in Japan using it for sickness/allergies normally. A year later pandemic. Being a degenerate weeb pays off my dudes. Bonus story. Once I wore one of these masks to school and the principal confiscated it because it was distracting, even though I had a mild cough and sore throat. I bet you feel really ducking stupid right now, Mr. Malava. Close bracket. I was sleeping with my ex long before everyone started doing it. Drinking Baileys from issue. RuneScape too long ago. Okay, it was never cool, but hell it was for me. I was into vinyl before it made a comeback, and since nobody in the 90s or early 2000s wanted their records anymore, I basically got 500 plus records for free or nearly free. Seeing a therapist regularly. When I was 4, I got inside our new refrigerator before they plugged it in. I was in there before it was cool. One of my brothers graduated HS in '94, and one his friends moved out to CA from NH. When he came back to visit, he brought a cassette tape of early Sublime. 2 to 3 years later they got big. 5 to 6 years later everyone in junior high had that Sun shirt and were trying to say that they discovered the best band ever. A similar thing happened years later with the Dropkick Murphys, but I'm not really into them, so I don't mind letting that one go. I read The Hunger Games before it was popular. Reddit. This account is rather recent, but I discovered the platform in its infancy. It had less stuff back then, but the discussions were better, and then mainstream caught up. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.